Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to These Go to 11. Once again, I'm Nathan Bell. Joining me as always, Zach Bartles. Zach, who is that laughing man in the background?
That was me. I was doing an homage to Ted's little chuckle last time we had him on because he's also here. Ted Kluck.
Hey guys,
welcome back,
40 something Central Time.
Yeah, we did well with the time zones today. That's a thing that we for sure understand. Yeah. That's a thing that we never, ever have a problem with when we're coordinating with the podcast.
Hey, at least we don't have any experience with it, and that's why it's so hard.
Exactly.
Has it ever become an issue where you guys have to, cancel a podcast because you flubbed up the time zone thing?
Nope. No, of course not.
It's kind of been the elephant in the room between us at times, though. It's become an issue in our relationship, just something we've had to work through. But
you know how there are people who their political views get in the way, and so they're like, okay, we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
That's how Ted and I are with time zones.
Yeah,
we're both really passionate about it, and we have big personalities, both of us. So
yeah, and you know the old adage, don't talk about time zones in politics. That really applies in our relationship. They're off limits.
Oh, man. Well, as to not open any wounds, Ted, how are things going? It's been a while, man.
Yeah, things are good. It's great to be back on your program and hear the kind of pensive, soulful intro music. I always enjoy that. I might look for it on Spotify, but no, I'm good, man. It's always good to be on the phone with my work friend Zach Bartles and you, Nathan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Let me tell you something that makes me feel a little bit like our program is a little bit inferior. The music that was prepared for this program long before I came on board, not only is it's unique and completely original for this program, it also has a Halloween version and Christmas version with sleigh bells and different it's ready. The program's music is ready to adapt and indicate to the listeners what time of year it is and that sort of thing.
That's incredible. I feel like that would make the fact that you guys have a Christmas version of your song would make one of my Happy Rant colleagues really jealous. He considers himself evangelical Christmas man. In fact, he's trying to make that happen for him professionally. So
that makes me wonder what it would sound like if that robot committing
a robot Christmas song.
Had a Christmas version.
Dude, I can't believe we don't have one though. All kidding aside, as fired up as he is about Christmas, I can't believe we don't have a Christmas Happy Rant intro song. But
now let me point out that we talk about Ronnie more than we talk about anything else lately, and I bet he loves that, and I bet he knows it.
I don't want him to know it. And the fact that maybe he listens to this program. We should probably cut that out. It would give him undue pleasure to know how much we talk about him. Although he couldn't publicly cop to the amount of pleasure that it gives him. You know what I mean? Because part of his whole ethos is acting like he doesn't care. So
the disinterested soul.
The disinterested soul. Yeah, for sure.
I saw a thing on Facebook the other day that said, it was a quote, and it said, "I hope none of my friends find out that I own a coat." And it was cited. It said dash junior hires, and I was like, "That is so perfect." And it kind of reminds me of when you get older, instead of having a coat, it's I hope my friends never find out that I get excited when things go my way or I am celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, why is that? Why can't we? Maybe Zach, we should start a trend where we just feel really okay about getting celebrated.
I think we've already established that as kind of
I think we have. Nathan asked how I'm doing, and I'm like, great. Somebody at work today told me I'm a great teacher. I'm feeling good,
Oh, nice.
Man, but dude.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, ask me about Missional Wear.
Baby, what's new with Missional Wear, our official clothing provider and builder of a very minimalist clothing website on behalf of our other podcast concern, Zach.
And builder of a very robust kind of page for this podcast.
Yeah, dude, you guys have products galore. What's the latest from Missional Wear, Jeff? Am I right?
Well, Jeff asked me, by the way, if I was going to be at the G2 conference.
Okay.
And I was like, That's what I said. I thought that was. I was thinking of maybe the G8 conference. I'm like, is that like the UN thing where like all the nations come together and stuff? But no, it turns out it's just like another Baptist thing. And like, I think what's his name, Dougie Wilson was going to be there, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be where Doogie's speaking. It would be great if it was like a national, like a summit of some kind, though. And what if we found out Jeff did swag for like Guam and yeah, I do their merch. What if Guam's merch page was just like ours at Gut Check Zach? They had like one T-shirt. As long as it was a Peter both created design, it would be pretty cool.
Then Guam can feel good about it. You know?
Yeah, if they're ahead of the curve like we are, like feeling good about themselves and stuff. Exactly. But I got an email in that exchange telling me that another package had shipped my way that has the nameplates that I think I accidentally threw away for my two busts of Charles Spurgeon and John Calvin. And I really want them. And so I'm excited they're on the way. And I am assuming, and I don't want to assume because when you assume you can really what's the old phrase? You can really make a fool of yourself. You can really look like a fool or something like that. Yep. But the last time he sent me something, and the time before, he was like, "I've sent you this one thing," and then when it arrived, it was like a dozen things.
Okay.
And I'm kind of hoping that happens again.
Wow, baby! It's been. I don't know if Jeff is a diehard listener to this program, but I'm going to do a passive aggressive thing anyway and just say
he's a diehard 2 listener to this program.
He's a diehard. He and Rennie Harlan and the Harlan family are listening at this moment, but I'm just going to be a little passive aggressive and say it's been a while since I've gotten a box from Missional. That's all I'm saying. I used to enjoy what that felt like, ripping into a Missional Wear box and pulling out free stuff, but it's been so long I hardly remember what the feeling is like.
I thought it was cool when I went into that guest suite at your house, Ted, and it was like the sheets were like Missional Wear, Happy Rant sheets, and like your cat was like branded Missional Wear, Happy Rant.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're on brand here at the Kluck House, man. Got a giant Happy Rant logo above the fireplace now. I hope I never part ways with the show, or else I'm gonna have to just tear down my house and rebuild it.
I don't think I actually plugged Missional Wear. Let me say this. I'm super happy with all their stuff, and that is the reason I'm hoping I've got more stuff on the way. And I brought my I know I already talked about this item, but I brought my travel cigar thing. What do you call it? Cigar holder thing? With Spurgeon on it, with a Spurgeon quote, the leather one, to a meeting of 4 guys who were having cigars together, and everybody was jealous. I mean, nice. I was, and that's another thing I like. I like being celebrated, and I like it when people are jealous of things I have and things I've accomplished and my looks.
My looks. Yeah.
It's a cycle you got going on there, Zach. I mean, people are jealous of you, which makes you feel good, which you can celebrate, and then people continue to be jealous of you, and it's a cycle.
Can celebrate. Yeah, I don't see where it could go wrong or how it could spin out of control or anything.
Maybe now, no, it's good for your character for sure. Now, how can you tell? I want to lean into something that you said. How can you tell that people are jealous of your looks? Like how do you know when that's happening?
I just know. I just know.
You just know. You're sitting across the table from a guy, and you're like, yeah, he's intimidated by how handsome I am. I can tell.
I feel like my looks I don't know. There's something about that makes me laugh.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny.
Instead of saying like my appearance, saying my looks. I don't know. That's just. It seems like
why? Because it's a very not that I see gender of any kind because I'm a college professor, but it's a very 1980s woman's way to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they used to say stuff like my looks have faded, or my looks are starting to fade. I think that's why it's funny.
Ted, I think that something that you and I have in common is that our looks are holding strong.
I agree. Yeah. Something we have in common is that we're both exceedingly handsome men.
Nathan, of the pictures I've seen of you, you're a good-looking guy too.
I've never seen a picture of Nathan, nor have I met him in real life. I don't know what he looks like. In my mind's eye, it's kind of a cross between George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Close your eyes a minute, and I'm going to describe him.
Yeah, dude, that'd be great.
Should I close my
I've
eyes
seen a
too?
lot of pictures of them. I've got composites all over the place. So I think about somebody's about maybe 6'8", 6'9".
What?
Big neck, like really big. We're talking
Oh,
24 inches around. Lots of veins.
Yeah.
Tapering down into like the kind of weird big shoulder muscles that you haven't seen in like a couple
Yeah,
decades.
the traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which used to be like something people they had trap day. You didn't want to skip trap day in the 80s. And then just kind of like a real muscular torso, but maybe just a little bit of a beer belly on it, but not much.
Yeah.
Like lovable beer belly. Now imagine the whole thing wrapped in a karate gi and tied off with a purple belt. That is Nathan Bell.
You just described Chong Li from Bloodsport, except save for I don't know Nathan's nationality. Maybe he and Chong Li share the same nationality.
I don't think that they do.
Also, Chong Li didn't have a beer belly, but he was wearing a gi. So I'll take it.
So this is the one thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna envision Chong Li as I listen to Nathan's voice. Is he really 6'8"? Are you really 6'8"?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not
I exaggerated a
anywhere
couple
close.
things.
Do you have huge traps?
I do not.
Oh,
You know what?
I
Don't
just-
listen to
the-
him.
the image is being
he isn't
burst
like
left
us.
and right.
He doesn't celebrate himself.
yeah. He doesn't celebrate his looks.
I
Dude,
just-
what would be
I want to be modest.
Dude, what would be crazy is if the three of us got together and we went out together, like for coffee or lunch, and like I feel like everybody in the room would be jealous of our looks collectively, given what handsome men we all are.
Yeah, you're right about that.
We would just turn heads as we walked in and sat down.
Yeah. Well, we should do that sometime. It sounds super fun.
Let's do that one day.
Yeah. One day
So-
before our looks fade, Zach.
You know what I like about being a man?
What's that?
The looks take so long to fade. You know what I mean? And if you do it right, like guys who were not even good looking when they were like 22
Yeah.
can like age into being like good looking guys when they're like 62. Don't you see that all the time?
I do. They look distinguished and kind of weathered, but they really look good.
I can't wait until I look distinguished and kind of weathered.
I know, man. I'm getting there.
I feel like that's when my looks will have arrived, and people will, no joking aside, actually be jealous of them.
Yeah, no, I know, man. That's going to be cool.
I said no joking aside.
No joking. People will not be
accidentally did
joking.
a clever thing.
People will not be making jokes about how jealous they are.
There's a reason we have Ted on.
There is.
Yeah. And I mean, other than the fact that he's freaking Ted Kluck and it's great to have him here, it is because I thought I got an email. Actually, my wife was like having a crummy day or something and sent out an email to to three others, me, Ted, and his wife, Kristen, who I think of as kind of our friend group. If there was a sitcom, only
that's true.
The problem is that, like, in sitcoms, usually people are on screen together, not in different states, in different time zones, which gets all never mind. I'm not going to bring that up. That's really contentious. And she said, just like, cheer me up. I'm having a bummer day. And Ted's wife said, I think you should send her the thing that we wrote. And Ted had written. So tell us here, Ted, you wrote it just because you thought of it and it was brilliant and you write things down. You don't usually write something, quote unquote, for a particular.
Yeah, no. So me and KK were taking a road trip, and I don't know about you, but I always get creative, like when I leave the house and I'm driving, and we were driving along, and she was like, it's been a long time since you've stirred the pot. Like, it's been a while since you like poked the reformed bear, so to speak. And we were just talking about the idea that people. There's not a lot of reformed couples that seem to like each other. They seem more like business partners or roommates, And I'm like, that's weird because like we like each other, and I'm like, Zach and Aaron seem to really like each other, and she's like, yeah. And so we decided that it's couples that watch shows and movies together that seem to like each other the most. And
Nice.
KK was like, you should write something about that. So
let's
I'm like,
hear it, Ted.
Yeah, okay. So I'll read this. It's real short, and then I want to add. I want to ask you guys some stuff because you guys are writers too, and because something that hurt my feelings happened on the back end of this. Something that
What?
something that wasn't designed to make me feel good. So I'll lay that on you when I get through it.
That's not my kind of thing.
No, I know, nor is it mine. This is called Let Them Eat Chips, toward a reformed hermeneutic of snacks and television in 2020.
I love it already.
Yeah. It's been a while since you've stirred the pot, my wife explained on a recent car trip. She's right, but writing a one-off column encouraging reform people to watch more or any television is like chum in the water for reform Twitter. It's an invitation to be ripped to pieces in the name of Christ, of course, for roughly 48 hours. No thanks. We were chatting in the car while driving to the wedding of one of my former students, where I would be playing the role of the one old, slightly fat groomsman in a lineup of young, sleek, handsome, recent college grads.
I don't like what you just said about your looks.
No, dude, I was trying to be self-deprecating about my looks because I didn't want the reader to be intimidated. We're in our early 40s and are both a little thicker than we were when we got married 23 years ago. We're not trying to look 23 because to do so would be dumb and sad. Still get up early in the morning to work out together several mornings a week, but truth be told, sometimes our hearts aren't in it. This is called being an adult. Anyway, we're a little thicker because we enjoy watching movies and eating chips together in the evening after a long day of working out, working, bill paying, problem solving, and parenting. We think this is okay and maybe even good. I like my wife. I like watching certain shows and movies. Watching them with her seems like a good idea. I think the couples we know that watch TV together in the evenings seem to like each other the most, Kristen explained. It's the kind of insight you have time for in a marriage because you've got several hours in the car. You should write something defending watching more television with your spouse, she concluded. She apparently wants to watch me die on the internet. What KK doesn't understand is that being super smug about not watching television is, along with the doctrines of grace, one of the cornerstones of our movement. Being too good for pop culture because you're too busy reading theology or hillbilly elegy or a book about Winston Churchill is what we do. And if you do happen to engage a movie, it's because the movie is esoteric and boring, an intellectual exercise, and will be a vehicle for a 5,000-word essay. See Martin Scorsese's Silence. But her sentiment was born of 2 decades around lots of reform couples who seem more like business partners or roommates than people who actually enjoy and know each other. The thing is, reading is good. Being super fastidious parents is good. Hoarding little envelopes of cash per Dave Ramsey is, I guess, good. Being super involved in your church is good. But not knowing your spouse, never doing anything together, reading Bavinck by candlelight while she cleans up the kitchen, and feeling like her roommate is bad. The answer, of course, is Netflix and chips. Because as great as reading is, we both love it, it's solitary. Part of strengthening your marriage is finding things you enjoy doing together. Pauses to cue up the comment from the super smug guy about how he and his wife redo each other. We get it. There's plenty of thoughtfulness, intellectual rigor, and responsibility in the reformed world. We're here to provide an argument for fun. You should work on this, fun, having it with your spouse, at least as much as you work on your financial peace. And that's it. That's the end of the article.
I have one question and one quick comment before your questions. And the question is Netflix and chips like the new Netflix and chill? Is that what people say? It sounds like a sadder version to me.
Dude, it does. Yeah, it's Netflix and chill without the sex.
Okay.
It does. It sounds euphemistic. I didn't mean it.
And my comment, Ted, is hearing you read that makes me very excited for you and I to record the audio version of your essay book.
Dude,
a hard thing on a beautiful day.
That's going to be so fun, man. We enjoy reading our work out loud together.
Yes, we do, and we share that with the world.
We're like a smug couple, you know.
We read to each other and let everyone listen.
I think Listen, I think every healthy business partnership, the partners read to each other. You know, it's just.
I think Procter and Gamble used to do that.
Johnson and Johnson, I think, read to each other. I think Special Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson read to each other. No relation. Dude, what do you think we read to each other? Special Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson.
Oh, like Clive Cussler and Tom Clancy and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Clancy, maybe John Grisham. They weren't going too deep dive.
Like Vietnam.
Yeah, exactly. I was in 7th grade. So what happened with this one, Zach, is that my wife encouraged me to submit it to the good people over at a little website called the Gospel Coalition.
Where you have been published many times before. I
have, yeah. So from time to time, I will reach out to them or they will reach out to me and we end up like publishing an article together. But it had been a long time since that. Not a long time, but a long-ish time since that had happened. And it had been honestly forever since I'd had anything rejected. But I sent it to TGC, and the editor over there, who's a really nice guy who I've known for a long time, he was very sweet about it. But he did the whole, this isn't right for us, but I really liked it. You know what I mean? And it didn't move the needle for me emotionally at all. Like I feel like 15 years ago, getting any kind of rejection would have just like destroyed my day and probably the next day. But this one didn't move the needle at all, other than it was funny to be rejected, and it was funny to read the whole like, oh, I love this. This is super fun. It's great to hear from you, but it's it's not really right for us. So anyway, that was it, and it made me wonder like how long it's been since you guys have gotten rejected and how that feels.
Well, first of all, let me say I love that this then has become a These Go to 11 exclusive.
That's it. We've got an exclusive deal, man.
If you've heard this, you've heard it here. You haven't read it anywhere else. You haven't heard it anywhere else.
Exactly.
So come here for all of your Ted Kluck essays. Or one of them. I would say I got a number of rejections, bam, 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 in a row about 2 years ago when I decided to try and dust something off and kind of tweak a book proposal, and I sent it out to several different publishers and got a few. You get a few of the doesn't meet our needs right now. You get a few of the we're already doing a book that's like that this year. Otherwise, whatever. You like the people who try to couch it and let you down. But lately, I haven't been really trying to. I've been busy with other stuff. The secret project you don't think is going to happen. The audiobook project, I'm like knee deep in that thing, man. I'm almost done with Playing Saint. Yeah. And I'm about to send that out to all my Kickstarters. And nice. I've got kind of a backlog of things I really want to do. And when you're in the stage where you're going to get rejected or not, it's got to be where you've got some margin and some space to add, because you're always proposing to add new work to yourself. Yeah. And I mean, not in the case, when you've written an article and you're sending it out. Sure. I don't think. You know what? Hey, no. I got rejected. This will make you feel better. Okay. I got rejected by default by Stephen L. Trogi.
No. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, that doesn't make me feel good.
I found I was looking for something for Christmas for church, and I found an article I had written, and I think I put it on like the church newsletter like a year or two ago. Yeah. And I sent it to L. Trogs and said, here, you can put this on the Blazing Center. Because I was thinking this is kind of a cool article and it deserves a little bit broader. And I heard nothing back. And it was about Advent. It wasn't about Christmas. So I sent it to him like a week into Advent. Yeah. Like a week later, I just texted him. I'm like, I was just wondering if you got that. Like, I don't know if you changed email addresses. We haven't talked in a while. And he wrote back, oh, I'm sorry. I've been super sick. And I wrote back, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll be praying for you. I hope you get better. He was like, thanks. Yeah. And then the article still never appeared on the Blazing Center that I know of. So it was kind of that, like, I'm not even going to reject you.
It was like Bob Slidell, like fixing the glitch,
Yes, yes. There's less confrontation.
Exactly.
I feel like it's possible that you and I doing a recurring bit about Carnival Funhouses may have contributed to that dynamic.
Hey, you know what? That's water under the bridge, Zach. He's got to get over that. He's got to let the healing begin on that
Concave
one.
glass in the Carnival Funhouse.
Exactly.
Glass.
Exactly. That was glass. That was just content. That was just us doing radio. Now there is another little wrinkle to this that I haven't told you guys about that might violate our non-compete clause contractually as it pertains to this story. Are you guys still there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're bracing ourselves for what we're
I heard
doing.
a weird noise.
Oh yeah, no, ignore that. You won't hear it on the final recording.
So I was telling the Happy Rank guys about this, and they were like, "Oh, you should submit it to @JaredC.Wilson for the church."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, what's for the church?" And they were like, "Ah, it's a website, basically. I mean, it's essentially a Gospel Coalition competitor, I guess."
It's better than the NGCO these days, if you ask me. I love Jared C. Wilson.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but so I did send it to for the church. So we'll see if that opens up a whole world of possibilities with that Jared C. I've never interacted with Jared C. Wilson in person or via email, other than he's been a recurring bit on my other podcast for like 5 years. So so yeah, if he publishes my article, I'll feel
and he had a little contrib to our best-selling book, The Smoking Companion.
He did. Yeah, he absolutely did.
Dude, that guy just wrote a book called The Gospel According to Satan.
Yeah,
I saw. It's brilliant.
I saw something like it had a really cool like packaging, or the box looked really cool.
Yeah, great title, great concept, great appearance. The looks of the book are good.
Yeah, the books. Hey, have the looks on the book faded at all? Or do you feel like the book still looks good? I mean, it's brand new, so it should. I would hope that it still looks good.
I feel like that's the kind of book, because it's geared toward reformed-ish guys for the most part. Its looks aren't going to fade much, because it's a community that buys a lot of books and reads not as many books as it buys. Takes pictures of a lot of books.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like that book was published for taking pictures. You know what I mean? That book basically, it screams like, take your picture with this. You know what I'm saying? Who put that out, publisher-wise?
Oh, I bet it was Crossway. Isn't he like really snuggly with Crossway?
Yeah, but like they usually don't spend a penny on like design and marketing and stuff like that. So
I'll look it up in a minute.
Yeah, that feels kind of off-brand for them, but it'd be cool if it was Crossway.
I don't know. I feel like they've been getting better
really
in recent years.
Yeah, I should give the caveat that I haven't cared about any of this in 12 years. So when I think of Crossway, I think of Crossway 12 years ago. So it's changed.
It's Nelson Books.
Oh, Nelson. Yeah, that explains the cashish and the opulence. So yeah,
wow.
Wow.
I just realized that it says, oh, never mind. I don't like the packaging as much as I did. I thought it was just kind of like black swirlies, like black on dark gray.
Yeah.
But in the background it says Satan really big, like
yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the big Satan thing.
I think that looks dumb. Now that I see it still looks like a great book, but
yeah,
I wouldn't have done that.
Thomas Nelson, the actual Thomas Nelson, if you're listening. So apologies, Nelson family around the hearth,
dude. So hey, Nathan, this is your podcast and stuff. What's your take on the article, the content of the article, not the blowback or the blowback?
Dude, Ted, I thought it was brilliant. I love your writing, and I'm not just buttering you up with that. I think it's great.
Be okay if you worked it. Thank you.
You'll take it either way, right?
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I think it's great, and it's obviously there's satire involved in there, but there's so much truth in there too, because I know that some of the activities that my wife and I enjoy doing are, kicking back and watching movies and discussing those. I am not a great reader by any means.
Yeah.
And so particularly now with everything that's going on, I just don't have time to sit down and read and discuss that with her. But,
sure.
While we're in the midst of grading papers, we can throw a show on for 30 minutes or whatever and, discuss that and talk about it. And, there's something to be said for just, having those moments of relaxing. I mean, we're getting up at 5 a.m, getting into work. And then by the time we're getting home, it can be anywhere between, 5 and 6 at night. And so by the time we get home and we're just like, what do you want to do? Well, I don't want to go out. I've just been out all day. So, throwing something in and just kind of, enjoying that together and having references, our Friends vocabulary has increased night and day since Friends has been on Netflix. And, it's fun because we have that with one another that we can share. And so whether or not, others are getting in on that, it's between us and we enjoy that.
Sure. Absolutely. No, I agree. 100%.
I wonder who do you think would, not names, but who do you think would have cried foul and written a response? Like, describe the guy.
Oh.
Can I jump in for a second and ask a question?
Absolutely.
My question to you, Ted, is how much did you think? What was the percentage you thought this was going to get published by the Gospel Coalition when you submitted it? Like, what was your thought process on it?
Very low. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the paradigm of stuff. Even stuff that like I've written for them before that's gotten published. It was just gradations to glib for them, and they've dabbled in glib from time to time, but
their readership's too earnest. They wouldn't know how to process it.
I don't think there's an audience for that sort of message in the Gospel Coalition empire. That's just like not a thing that they really enjoy hearing. So I didn't think it would get published. I just kind of submitted it for KK, and for myself, just for funsies. But yeah, I was pretty confident that it wouldn't see the light of day.
Hey, can I point out a funny thing that just happened?
Yeah. I
was like, hey Ted, answer this question, and I asked it, and then Nathan was like, but first, I have a question for you.
I love it. That's good.
I still have a question on the table, which is, what kind of a fella do you think would have written the response? And like, could you pre-write it the way that we pre-wrote some of the 1-star reviews for some of our books?
Totally. And in fact, like, I'm glad you mentioned that, because pre-writing responses to stuff, I want that to be my next writing project. Like, I feel like you could undercut the entire world of like Twitter and all of that obnoxious stuff just by like preemptively writing all the hateful things that inevitably we know people are going to write. So if that's a project that appeals to anybody out there in publishing, I know that the world of publishing is probably listening. I would be up for writing something like that. But no, Zach, to answer your question after answering Nathan's question, I think it's probably like a boys college kind of guy, I don't want to name names, but maybe somebody.
I know who you mean.
Yeah, somebody that used to rap, I don't know. Somebody like that, though. I don't even know that.
Who is, by the way, speaking at the G2 conference as we record this?
Dude, G2 Summit with all the other countries and stuff.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be amazing. What country is he representing?
I don't know, but every single person on that bill, I clicked over to see what it was. Yeah. They all looked like him. Yeah. And I thought, he's going to be on this. He's just going to be near the end, because it wasn't like a list. It was like clicking through a slideshow. Yeah. And I was like, discount Owen Strahan, discount Owen Strahan. Oh, there's the real guy. That which kind of cracked me up. Like, nice. I remember when he was like the up and coming like intern. And
he was the guy, man. He was the guy behind the guy behind the guy. But I feel like he's had a good run, man. He's had a nice little career.
You know what he's good at? Pithy and insightful, really brief little like tweet and Facebook quote type things that get retweeted because they're clever and
wait, whoa, like Pastoral Yoda?
No, they'll be more like cultural kind of things. They're not like pastors this. They're like they're like pointing out the flaws in faulty reasoning on the part of like the culture or liberal academia or whatever.
Yeah, he's probably a great guy, man. If we ever hung out, it would probably be good. But I want to say,
hung out with Owen Stray, and not that that's who we're talking about.
Dude, I haven't.
That surprises me.
I think
considering that you two guys were the rising stars at the same time.
I think we missed eras by like 2 years, though. Like we were ships passing in the night in the sense that, like, I kind of did my thing, and I was making my exit as he was making his entrance, as it were. So yeah, man. I think it would have either been somebody like that or somebody in the like ultra family intentional. I don't want to say the word homeschool because as soon as you do, you get just slaughtered. It's like saying the word gender in a university context. Like you're just literally getting killed the moment it comes out of your mouth. But you know the type that I'm talking about. Like like I've got the family thing figured out, and how dare you suggest that?
The guy who would have written that is the Boys College type, and the woman is the one who has a blog still in 2020 about like raising her 19 kids and 72 chickens and homeschooling. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
and you know what? Both of them would have said stuff that is fully true in response to your piece.
Sure. Yeah.
But so what?
Yeah.
I like, and I mean, you knew because it was satire that you had a little bit of a straw man thing going. Like the options are this or this, and that's the funny part. Yeah. And I think that no one is willing to acknowledge, I am actually part of that. I'm actually kind of disconnected from my spouse because we have so segmented our lives into these like traditional spousal roles that I withdraw over here and churn butter, and he goes and smokes his pipe and reads Bavinck,
right?
And writes responses to each footnote of church dogmatics or something.
I
don't think anyone's willing to like own up to that,
right?
But I know the people you're talking about, and I've struggled not to become the guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like watching TV with my wife is in my top 3 favorite things to do.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
And it is completely different from watching TV by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, dude. It's way more joyful. It's super fun. And yeah, like Nathan said, I mean, it kind of becomes a part of the language of your family and your marriage, and you get all these fun inside jokes that you get to have together, and it's really good, and it's just it's another way to know and be known, right? Through the stuff that we like. So yeah, that piece though, boys, will never see the light of day were it not for the exposure that it's getting on this program. So
or Jared C. Wilson possibly.
Yeah, no way. There's no way Jared C. is gonna publish this article, but it's kind of, to me, it's like just an experiment at this point. I'm casting about through the reformed world to see if anyone will publish it.
So Ted, I know you got to go, but just so you know, what your chances are like. The first thing on For the Church is .co, by the way. For the Church.co is video. Why pastors should consider reading biographies.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's not happening.
Nope, I have no chance. Love it. Boys, it's been a pleasure. I will come on this program anytime. If you're having a slow like content week and you just need you need a little something different, I'm here for it. So I'm going to be out
that we can't see your looks because it's just audio.
I know, and I can't see Nathan's looks. I can't see his huge traps and his gi. But yeah, I'll treasure the image of Chong Li and hide that in my heart and just assume that that's what Nathan looks like.
Awesome. Have fun watching TV with your family tonight, man.
Hey, guys, listen. Guys, watch out for your looks, okay? Don't let your looks fade, okay?
Hey, you take care. You and your looks take care.
Will do. See you, boys.
All right, see ya. Dude, good time as always. Good time as always.
I wanted to see if you'd think I was gone too. No, I'm still here.
Too funny. Oh, that's interesting. My wife's calling me, and she's right upstairs.
She probably wants to watch some TV and Netflix and chips tonight, man. That's got to be the name of the app. Absolutely. Netflix and chips. Which, to me, sounds like the saddest version of these things that you could, like, it sounds nice in a vacuum. Like, you know, snacking and watching TV with your wife and your wife and your kids. But when you replace the young person's version,
right,
within the proper context of marriage, I mean, with chips, it sounds like a bit of a downgrade.
But we are that will definitely be the name of this episode, no doubt. Oh man, dude. So let me ask you. And you might have already answered this when I was up going to get a power cord for my phone. But what is it that you enjoy about watching shows with your lady over there?
Here's the thing. So my wife and I watch a variety of things. We watch like dumb stuff at the end of the day when we are not able to think anymore. We often will watch a 20-minute show in bed before we go to sleep.
Yep.
And I haven't found that gets in the way of my devotional Bible reading, devotional other reading, or prayer at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, it keeps me from giving God like the dregs at the bottom of my barrel. Instead, I give those to Fraser Crane and Sam Malone, and whatever we're watching. So that's a nice just kind of like way to be together and laugh. And then we'll also watch things that challenge us, or things that are really fascinating or different or artistic. And we'll then, often when we're sitting in the Nakatomi smoke room enjoying a cigar, and she has one of her, weird concocted drinks from some, mid-century drink manual that she's found in a used bookstore.
Yep.
We'll just talk about those things, what we love about it, what's charming about older things we've watched, or what's interesting about the way things were presented, and it just gives us kind of stuff to talk about that's not the kid, that can happen to couples. It gives us we're watching things together that our son is not, because he's not ready for them yet.
Yep.
So we have kind of our separate kind of thing, easy on ramp rather, to just a conversation between us. And often, almost always, that's what it'll be. We're not like this couple that they just watch TV together and then they talk about TV, and it's all just kind of based in this sloth. No, we'll start talking about something we saw in an episode of television, whether it's Downton Abbey or the Romanoffs or whatever, and that will always kind of spin off into conversations about, that topic that was being addressed, and then other stuff. And it's just kind of a fun way to keep interacting without having to be like this weird intentional, like, I remember when my mom and dad took like a marriage class just because they were doing it at our church. When I was growing up, like all the couples were doing this class. It was something that was popular in the 80s. I don't remember what it was called. And they were both kind of laughing at the notion in this video that they were watching that you were supposed to, during the day, keep like a spiral notebook in your pocket. And when you thought of something to talk about with your spouse, get it out and jot it down.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you both get out your spiral notebooks. And like, I was like, wow, how sad. And they were laughing at how kind of pathetic that would be if you didn't have anything to talk about unless you were like making a list.
Right.
My backup list of, I feel like having especially like you were mentioning, having this kind of this shared vocabulary of, we have phrases and quotes and jokes from anything from New Girl to Arrested Development to all these, and some like obscure British things, like she likes this Black Books, and we've watched everything together, and I know what she's thinking when she says these three words, and she knows.
Yeah.
it's just fun, and it is, I think, just as important as making sure that we're both on the same page financially, or that we're giving a lot of time to our spiritual lives, because you could separately be very in tune with your reading of morning and evening.
Mm-hmm.
And, sure, that could be some source of discussion, but it also could keep you pretty well segmented, isolated, if you're doing everything apart. Yeah. Watching TV is something that you do together. You laugh together. You pause it and say, hold on a minute, that guy in the background, we saw him on this. Or wait a minute, this reminds me of this thing that happened in real life. And I don't know. To me, it doesn't short circuit. It kind of gives a boost to interaction. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Some of the sweetest conversations that we've had have started for hours in the process, where we went out on a Friday night at 6:00 and we saw this movie, and then on the ride home we were talking about it. That led us into talking about this theme in the movie, which led us to talking about the spiritual application of it. And just before you know it, the movie was over at 8 or 8:30, and we were up till 1 or 2 talking about different things that started with us in the car talking about the movie and what we thought about the movie, and branching and leading into all these other things. And so I agree. I think if your vocabulary is limited in that respect, then there's a problem. But if it's a device that's being used to grow the both of you together, then I think it is great. And I think those are moments and memories that are very sweet and precious to hold on to. And I think some of that stuff expands out, beyond Joy and I. I mean, I remember when our son E was living with us before he went off to college. We would bring him in on those things that we were doing together, and it's just it does become part of the family culture and the family dynamic that you have. And I noticed that even at school, having that relatability with my students and their parents, that they have this shorthand that is a workaround some of the things that they're watching. And so being able to understand some of that allows me to bridge into those areas. We can't get around it. Whatever people think about television and entertainment, it is such a pervasive part of our culture. And so being able to get in on that shorthand and to be able to engage with people, I think opens more doors in some cases than, the ones who are just constantly in a book and have some difficulty relating to unbelievers in some cases because of that. I'm sure wherever you go, you don't have any problems bringing up Breaking Bad with someone, like wherever you are in who you're talking with. And I'm sure, that's an exaggeration because, I'm sure there are several older people who may not be as involved, but you think about your ability to interact with people in the world and just how culturally iconic Breaking Bad became and still is with their follow-up movie that just came out. Better Call Saul, all that stuff. You have inroads into people's lives just with that.
Breaking Bad's not my go-to point of reference for great TV anymore, though.
Okay.
The Chosen is about 1,000 times better.
Okay.
It is so good. Have you watched it yet? Nathan?
No, I haven't. I know.
I want to have an app about it.
I know.
But to your point, yes, I agree. And that's not, I don't think, the main reason either of us probably consumes what we do.
Oh, no. Yeah.
To have the point of reference with other people, but it sure is a nice perk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I mean, totally. I'm watching these things because I enjoy them. It's entertainment. I enjoy the entertainment. I will say higher up on the list, like you said, I mean, one of my top 3 favorite activities is watching shows with my wife. We finding things and so much so that if there's something that I'm watching and I'm like, you know what, I really think she'll appreciate this. No matter how much I want to watch it, I'll wait and have her watch the first episode and see what she thinks.
Yeah.
And if she's like,
we do that too.
Yeah. If she's like, no, I mean, it's cool, but I really wouldn't get into this. Why don't you go ahead? Cool. But if she's like, oh yeah, I'd watch this with you. And so, to me, that's exciting. I enjoy doing that. And I come from a huge background of watching TV and entertainment. And so I enjoy that on multiple levels with people, getting people interested and involved in shows that we can then discuss and talk about, have that relatability and commonality with. Forever, when I go to my in-laws, her father and mother are always asking, hey, do you have anything you can recommend for us to watch? And I not just love recommending, but I love sitting down and watching it with them because I love being able to engage and interact with them about what they're watching. And again, it's more than just the show itself. It opens up other avenues of being able to talk and converse with them.
I think we both would acknowledge too that there are couples that do just use TV as a way to not interact.
Oh, absolutely.
That just kind of slack-jawed watch, whatever's on. They're just kind of always
right.
It's not a very intentional. This is a point where our interests converge and we want to do this together. It's this is easier than interacting.
Yes.
And that's true. I remember when texting was new.
Yep.
It'd been around for a couple of years, reading about how there were couples that couldn't communicate other than via text, even if they were like 2 feet away from each other.
Right.
They're texting each other and they needed to seek like treatment. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't mean texting or TV
right.
is a bad pursuit. I mean, it means just don't abuse it. Make
right.
it work for you. Don't serve it.
Right.
And I think that my wife and I watch less TV than 90% of people I know. Mm-hmm. But people will often say, wow, you guys watch so much TV, because the TV we watch, we're excited about, interested in. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh yeah, Young Sheldon's on at 9 and that's another good one, so we watch that. And then this
right.
other. No, we value our time. And so, yeah, we are watching a few shows at a time. Like right now we're watching The Good Place, which just came back on.
Yep.
We're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's probably going to come back on in February. We'll start watching that. There's certain things, but it's not this kind of blanket thing that we just drape over our relationship. It's much more. It's not a shotgun approach.
Right.
And you know what? We did go through a period. I didn't grow up with cable.
Okay. Yep.
As soon as I could get cable, I moved out of the house. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Erin and I got married, I was 22 and she was just about to turn 21. Mm-hmm. And so we're a couple of kids living in an apartment, on the 6th floor with a view and everything. And I'm going, well, we have to make sure we don't, we leave room in the budget for cable because this has become so important to me. And she's like, I don't know if we need it. I'm like, I really want it. It's a deal breaker. And I'm just kidding. It was a deal breaker. Right. But we get cable, and I had to be the one because I had insisted so much on it. She couldn't say we should get rid of this. I had to realize she was right that what it was doing was like we would sit down, and because our apartment was smallish, we'd eat with trays in front of the TV.
Yep.
Watching like Seinfeld reruns, and whatever cable station it was would play then like 6 reruns in a row. I mean, it was just, and we would find that maybe like 2.5 hours after we sat down to dinner, we're still just staring at the TV with commercials,
Right,
so you're
right.
watching, and we said, this is just a stupid waste of our lives.
Yeah.
And so we cut the cord on that. It can happen.
Oh yeah.
But just like you can become addicted to cigarettes and kill yourself by smoking, mm-hmm. but that doesn't mean we should say, someone who enjoys a pipe or a cigar once in a while is guilty of the same thing.
Right.
You can drink yourself to death, but
right.
that doesn't mean that enjoying an adult beverage is sin.
Right.
And you can, with Netflix, you can watch all sorts of wicked crap that you shouldn't put in front of your eyeballs, mm-hmm. or you can waste your life watching inconsequential nothing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And I mean, I know exactly. One of the things that I found interesting was with Joy and I. They didn't really grow up with cable. I actually grew up with cable satellite. Whatever variation was the thing that was coming out. My dad was big into technology, and so for much of my younger formative years, whatever was the latest and greatest technological thing that was coming out with TV and all that, we were actually getting, and it was in the house. So when we were first married, I had a fairly large movie collection, but by that point, I really wasn't that interested in cable, and she had just kind of started getting where you were a little bit, where it was like, ooh, there's all these options open. And so I found myself actually being pulled in with that, where it was like, oh, we have this show on this night, and we have this show on this night, and we have this show on this night. And so becoming a slave to the schedule of the television, where it's like we weren't necessarily getting in the rut of, oh, we've got, we're sitting down for these 2 hours, but we were becoming tied to the schedule of the cable and when the shows were on. And so when cable, we actually got to a point where we got rid of cable, and we have cable now, but we're trying to get rid of it because it's like we have Netflix, we have Amazon Prime, we have Disney Plus, we have a bunch of streaming services. And to us, it's a lot better to be able to say, hey, we have an hour, let's sit down and watch this show, as opposed to getting retied to that schedule of, oh man, there's the latest, greatest episode of XYZ on, let's go ahead and make sure we're home every Tuesday night to do this.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, one of the other things that I've enjoyed is there are a lot of things, because my wife didn't grow up with cable, or really a lot of the pop culture shows at the time, or movies, going back and watching some of those things with her, for better or worse, her opinions of them, but just seeing her reactions to them and what she thinks of them. And so going back and doing that with shows and with movies has been fun. And again, something that we are able to talk about. What was it that you liked about it? Looking at the movie artistically, it's like, was this a well done movie, or is this just something that I'm clinging to because it's nostalgia? So I think there are all different reasons, and like you said, there are all there's so many things that you can abuse. I mean, I know couples who they go and they start playing golf together or doing activities together, but like you said, really it's a way for them to do them separately. It's like, hey, we both do this thing together, but there's really nothing that's drawing them closer in this. And so I don't think TV is an exception in any of that.
Yeah. And the other thing, and this isn't the main thing, but there's all sorts of stuff you can watch that is edifying. Yeah. And people forget that too.
Right.
People who just, the idiot box, which it's not a box anymore, you guys. It's like a panel. But, like it's all going to rot your brain. And I'm like, really? Because I bet I've got hundreds of hours of DVDs that's teaching or quality programming, or even corny stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like biblically based, and so you can't miss anything. My son was begging to watch the rest of The Chosen because it was so well done. And we watched it as a family. Nice. We watch the Nativity every year. Yep. We watch, there's a lot of stuff that is also, I think that people want to make it has to do with turning the category from what it is, a medium, into a moral category,
right? And
make the generalization that it's just it's all garbage. And I'm like, no, you're confusing. It's like once in a while someone will say, why would a church put stuff on YouTube? There's pornography on that. And I don't know if I think there's probably not technically stuff that would be considered pornography, but I'm sure there's stuff that really is pornography,
right,
if you're looking for it. But in the same way, it's like, putting your service on public domain cable or whatever, cable access.
Yeah.
There's probably bad stuff you shouldn't watch on TV, but that's a medium.
Right.
That's not throwing yourself. YouTube's become a medium. Archive.org, where I put my sermons and where I post several podcasts.
Right.
You can find garbage on that.
Yeah.
It's a medium. It's a content kind of conduit.
Yes.
And it's just like if you went out onto the street corner where some people are up preaching, you also could hear people saying bad stuff on that street corner.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean being out on the street talking is bad. And,
right.
And turning on the TV and sitting down, if you're discerning, if you're not letting it take over your life, you're doing it in the proper what's the word I'm looking for? Moderation.
Yep.
It's a good thing. It's some great memories of being a kid. Our whole family, my parents would pop popcorn in like the stir crazy thing where you put a little oil in and stuff. And we would all sit down together and watch America's Funniest Home Videos when Bob Saget was doing it.
Yep.
I remember like the summer before my sister went to Indiana for college. Mm-hmm. Like I remember thinking like, this is the second to last. This is the last. Like it was so important to me that was the memory I wanted to hold on to. We were not just all slack-jawed staring at changing colored dots on the screen.
Right.
We were laughing. We were talking to each other. We were going, oh, remember that thing? Or that reminds me of when you – it was a wonderful time. We had VCR games back in the day too.
Yes.
I just said back in the day. Kill me. We had VCR games like Commercial Crazies or the Honeymooners game and stuff where you use VCR in order to play these. You know what? It's all fine as long as there's nothing overtly sinful about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do it to the glory of God and don't serve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're fine. And I think that Ted knew that he could say something doctrinal that would have made that piece probably far more likely to get picked up by one of these outlets. But Ted's not that guy.
Right.
And what he wanted to say was, it's first and foremost, before you say I've mastered, Gerhardus Voss's magnum opus, and so has my wife. First and foremost, your marriage needs to be built on you guys like each other and love each other and want to spend time together. And maybe before you get to any of this other stuff, you need to work on that. Why don't you guys find a dumb show to watch together and laugh at it? Get out the old reruns of Home Improvement or something and just laugh at something stupid. Yep. Or just be entertained by, I don't know, I almost said American Idol, but idolatry. But like The Voice or something. Just sit there and take it in and enjoy each other's company and presence.
Yeah. Yeah. You were talking about childhood memories and growing up, and one of my favorite memories, and this was a weekly thing, was every Friday night, just looked forward to when Dad got off work, because we would all load up in the station wagon. So that can, tell some people how old I am. All load
did
up.
You go in the back seat?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Where you're facing back. Oh,
we
yeah.
did too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And we would go to, we would first go to Pizza Hut and we would put our order for pizza in, because, it wasn't like.
Smell it now, an 80s Pizza Hut.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Yes, absolutely. And then we would go from there to, just about a mile down the road was the video store, and we would go in the video store, and they had this, like bug juice Kool-Aid stuff that you could get for free, Tootsie Rolls, and fresh popcorn right there. And every Friday we got 3 different movies. My younger brothers and I were allowed to pick out one movie that we could all watch together, and we all watched as a family. My older siblings got to pick out one that they would watch, and then my parents picked out one just for them. And I remember that was our Friday night routine. And we would go home, and we would get everything all set up in the living room. We would have our candy, because, of course, we weren't buying candy at the movie store because it was, ridiculously expensive. But we went to, the grocery store, and we had the pizza set up on the table. We had the candy set up. We had the soda set up. And we put the movie in, and as a family, that's what we did. We watched the younger kids' movie. That's what we got to watch first, and we ate dinner, and we had our candy and all that. and then the younger kids would go to bed, and then my parents would stay up with the older siblings, watch the movie that they got, and then they would go to bed, and then my parents would watch the one they got. And I remember every Friday, that's what we did together as a family. And it was this sweet time of, again, coming together and just having this awesome time where, we're having dinner together and we're talking about, how great Friday night was on Saturday when that rolled around, and, can't wait till next Friday. So excited, and it was a family activity that we all did. And yeah, I just, to an extent, that's why I just so miss the days of the video store, because I love that feeling of going into the store and spending some time to choose the right movie to take home on that Friday night, and what are we going to watch, and have to agree with my brother on what we're going to watch, because if we didn't agree, we couldn't get the movie. So
I might hit the video store on the way home now that you got me thinking about it. We still have several in town.
Really?
So, yeah, Family Video has not folded.
Dude, I am jealous. I am super jealous
selling,
of that.
what is that, like cannabis stuff that doesn't get you high but helps with pain? THC is the stuff that gets you high, right?
Right.
It's called I don't remember what it's called, but the CBD.
Oh yeah.
CBD oil and stuff. They started selling that before anybody else, and I think it kept them afloat. But yeah, no, I when you walk into those stores, they still have the same smell,
yes,
as they did in the 80s. And walking around, the outside is always the new release, and then you go to the old ones in the middle. And here's the thing: I think part of it is cultural, because it's kind of snooty, too good for everything. But I have to acknowledge part of it is cultural for me, because I think about like a family now where they're all on different devices. Like
right.
I go home. My mom used to get so mad when I first had my Palm Pilot, and my dad had one, and then my sister got one. Yeah. And we were all like looking at a screen, in in 2001. And now I leave everything, in my bag. Yeah. I can't stand when everyone's in a room looking at a screen. And like my mother, my dad, like baby boomers. People are looking at screens all the time, but not the same one, so they can't share the experience.
Yes.
And I don't want to be like, the good old days were the TV, any more than I think that, the old people when I was a kid were off base saying that the good old days were before there was a TV, or, whatever. Like, but there is something to be said about families having a shared experience, whatever it is.
Yes.
And we have had great ones recently. We did Escape Room. Nice. And I don't think that was qualitatively different from the experience of us watching The Office together, laughing about it, quoting it to each other, and then listening to a podcast about it as I take my son Calvin to school the next day.
Nice.
And having this point of reference we share together.
Yes.
I think we may be in danger of just beating this thing to death, but I think you and I are of the same mind that Ted was on point. Yeah. And if the church is so busy, I think it comes down to this, and tell me if you think this is one step too deep.
Okay.
Into the what. I think it comes down to, if we're so busy with our Jesus pursuits that we don't even know what is going on in the culture at all, we're not going to be effective at all.
Yeah.
But if the reason that we're going into the other pursuits is just so we have a bridge to get to Jesus with people, it's not really all that valuable.
Right. And it's not just that it's not valuable, it's also it's not authentic. It's not genuine.
And it's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to connect.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pale imitation of what it could be. So yeah, no, I think I think you're right on, and I agree. I think agree with you 100% about Ted, and that we've probably
his looks.
Beat this.
What a handsome guy.
I know, right?
That long silver mane.
That's right. Like a fox, baby, like a fox.
I didn't say that, but
oh, all right. This has been great, Zach. We're going to go ahead and sign off now. Before we do, want to just let people know, don't forget that you can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can go ahead and leave us a review. We have mediums up on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Spotify, and probably some others out there that we are not even aware of. So leave us a review somewhere. It gets us higher up on the charts so people find us more easily, and people can listen to us better. So, Zach, until next time, we just rock the Casbah.
These go to 11.